Thank you, Mr. Chairman, again for holding this hearing. I think it's really important. The Biden administration made the reckless decision to allow online pharmacies to prescribe dangerous chemical abortion drugs and to let mail-order pharmacies ship them directly to women without a real consultation with a doctor. However, Mr. Chairman, I'm disappointed that the FDA under Dr. McCarry's leadership hasn't moved faster to restore the in-person dispensing requirement and strengthen the REMS program for Mifepristone. I hope the rumors are false, some of them are in print, that the agency is intentionally slow-walking its study on Mifepristone's health risk. I really hope that that's not the case. And Mr. Chairman, I was hoping that Dr. McCarry would be here today so that we could ask him some of these questions directly and clear up those rumors. This is about protecting women from dangerous and even life-threatening drugs and their side effects. And Mr. Chairman, I hope that Dr. McCarry and the FDA will address this important issue without further delay. With that, I'll begin my questions. Dr. Wibbenhorst, the 2016 Obama FDA stopped requiring reporting of non-fatal complications from abortion drugs like Mifepristone. Then in 2023, the Biden administration weakened the REMS program, risk evaluation and mitigation strategies for Mifepristone, and allowed it to be prescribed online and delivered through the mail. Can you tell us really quickly why that combination of decisions are so dangerous?
Yeah, I think those decisions were dangerous because, number one, if we are only focusing on death, we're missing all the other outcomes, and we can't be said to have been collecting data that we need. As I've mentioned, in both in the U.S. and internationally, there are studies indicating that Mifepristone and misoprostol used for abortion are associated with significant side effects and risks and harms to women. In addition to that, excuse me. In addition to that, the lack of data on Mifepristone and misoprostol leads us to come to what I think are erroneous conclusions about its safety. Mifepristone, the requirement is for prescribers, Mifepristone, and drug companies to report, but there's no mandatory requirement for hospitals and medical providers. There's no mandatory reporting. So we're really not seeing a huge number of those complications being reported, and this is putting women at harm.
Doctor, this is the FDA label for Mifepristone. It's dated January 2023, and that was during the Biden administration, when they started weakening the safeguards, and the label hasn't changed since then. Mifepristone has a black box warning, and I'm wondering if you could tell us, what does a black box warning mean?
Right, so black box warning exists to warn both patients and prescribers of serious and sometimes fatal complications that are associated with the use of a drug. For example, chemotherapy drugs typically have a black box warning associated with them. This is why the comparison with Viagra and Tylenol is not correct, because Viagra does not have a black box warning, Tylenol does not have a black box warning.
So the label says that doctors need to inform patients about Mifepristone's risk. It says that doctors need to ensure that women know who to call and what to do if they experience sustained fever, severe abdominal pain, prolonged heavy bleeding, or fainting. Doctor, are online pharmacies and telehealth websites doing that?
No, they're not. I've actually visited these. Of course, I haven't bought anything, but I've actually visited these, and they do not say anything about the black box warning or the serious side effects.
So do you think that any drug with a black box warning should be prescribed online?
Never, and it should not be prescribed over the counter either.
Okay. The FDA label also says, quote, serious and sometimes fatal infections and bleeding occur very rarely following spontaneous surgical and medical abortions, including following Mifepristone use. Doctor, based on all of the studies and the data that we have that you've seen, how often is, quote, very rarely?
Well, the studies, one of the studies that I've reviewed recently from one of the Scandinavian countries showed an infection rate of approximately 2%. So if you consider the millions of abortions, that about 60% of abortions are being done, close to 1 million abortions every year, 2% infection rate, that is not rare.
So, okay, quantify that any further?
In terms of numbers of women.
How many women are impacted?
How the women are impacted?
How many? I mean, okay, take a
Well, if you
estimate.
said let's say you said 2%, about half, 500,000. So 2% of 500,000.
Mr. Chairman, that's so significant. We're not acting quickly enough, and I hope that we do something about this. Thank you again for holding this hearing and your leadership. With that, I yield back.
And there's been two to my colleagues. As regarding Commissioner McCowery not being present, we do hope to have the commissioner before the committee very soon, and we've been speaking with the FDA to facilitate the discussion of this and other issues. As regards Secretary Kennedy, he did promise to come back, and we have requested that he come back and testify. That was something that Senator Murray mentioned. No, it's in the process.